Hey, my name's Brian, and welcome to podcast episode 1. And in this episode, I'm going to quickly introduce who I am and what this podcast is about. So, the quick intro into who I am is I've been a very entrepreneurial individual for a long time. Since my high school years, I've been experimenting with different business projects and business models, from affiliate marketing to digital products and e-commerce. And I've done a lot of different things over my 8+ years of experience. And I've also worked for a bunch of different companies. And how I got started in marketing was probably around, even in my high school years, like I mentioned, when I started my own marketing agency in 2018 officially, and when I got my first client, that's when my career really solidified in the marketing world. So back then in 2018, I started off by learning and offering messenger marketing services. So instead of text messages, it's on Messenger. And as you know, being able to leverage another platform brings a whole wealth of possibilities and also restrictions. But yeah, that's how I got started in marketing. And then over the years, I've learned full stack marketing. I've spent time doing paid ads, lifecycle marketing through Messenger and email and SMS marketing. And I also did a lot of social media and content marketing. So I've been a content creator for a very long time, basically as long as I have been in marketing. And I love content creation. It's probably my biggest passion within the field of marketing, but I'm very passionate about marketing as a whole. And I know a lot about social media and content marketing, but all the other areas, even though I am a full stack marketer, I want to get more experience and knowledge in. And that's kind of the reason why I started this podcast. The biggest thing is, not only do I want to and do I need to continuously improve my marketing capabilities, skills, and knowledge, but being able to learn marketing and directly from a peer and being able to expand my network, I think it's a very cool thing. It's a very organic way to not only expand my network, but also a way to learn marketing at the same time. So that's why I started this podcast. And for those of you that really know me well and have known me from a while, previously, I started a podcast as well. In 2022, when I got into NFTs and Web3, I started a podcast in that space so I can network and learn about NFTs and in the industry, and basically leverage it to bring forth other opportunities. And through my NFT podcast is how I landed myself a job, actually, in the NFT space. And that was my goal, and it happened. That was an experience of mine that I'm very thankful for. And I'm telling you this because this isn't my first rodeo in the podcasting space. I would say about March of 2022 is when I started the podcast. And then the very last episode was December of 2022. Within a span of 9 to 10 months, I interviewed over 30 people, had over 30 episodes, and in a short period of time was able to grow it to a respectable number in terms of episodes. But there was a lot of untapped potential there that I could have tapped eventually and over time. And because the NFT and Web3 market went downhill in that year and a little bit onwards, I stopped. And also because I had a full-time job at the time. So it didn't make sense to continue. And it was a good project for what it was at the time. But this is a good intro and segue into what this podcast is going to be about and what you can kind of expect. So the first thing is, this is a podcast that's going to be about what's working today in marketing, whether it's strategies or tactics, and we get to learn from various guests. Being able to interview multiple people and show you guys, the listener and viewers, what is working today in the world of marketing is important to me so that you can get value out of it. And also I can learn marketing, improve my marketing, and network with other people. So you'll expect some tips and tricks, some knowledge from various people, some things that you may have heard, some tactics that you may have heard of before, or maybe you might have heard it in one way, but you haven't seen executed in another. And over the course of more episodes and more people that I interview, you'll kind of understand that and see what I mean by that. We'll also talk about AI here and there. AI is a very prominent force in the marketing industry and the world as a whole. But this is a marketing podcast, and I use AI every single day in my work whether it is stuff that I'm playing around with and experimenting with, or in my job and day to day. AI is something that I use a lot about and a lot of. So I'll be able to share some of those insights along with the guests, and we'll also hear what guests are doing and how they are leveraging AI in their workflow as well. Now, in terms of what to expect, so I expect this to be a long-term, ever-improving project. Like my previous podcast, my first few episodes weren't very good, but over time, I was able to create a flow, create an SOP, determine what guests I wanted on, and over time, it just improved in quality. I expect the same for this podcast. And you'll see over time, depending on when you see this specific video and when you listen to this episode, you'll see that the content might look a little different or might sound a little better over time. And that's something to be expected. I'm a firm believer in moving fast and getting things done to a decent quality, not to perfection, and then over time, fine-tuning things as you go. And I think that's the best way to look at marketing and life in general. Now, another thing you can expect is expect a non-consistent, consistent schedule in terms of posting. And what I mean by that is, as I've learned from my previous podcast and previous experiences doing this, it was a lot of effort and added more stress to my day-to-day and week-to-week because of trying to balance work and main projects along with this podcast. And I had to constantly find guests and try to stick to a weekly cadence of posting. And it ended up being another reason why I stopped doing it back in 2022. So now I promised myself, if I was to do this again in terms of launching and maintaining a podcast as a project, I want to be able to do it on my own terms. So basically, I will do my best to interview and to talk to guests whenever I can, whenever I have time. And subsequently, whenever I am able to edit and post, that's when I will do it. So unlike a lot of traditional podcasts, you can expect weekly episodes or bi-weekly episodes or monthly episodes, but there's a certain cadence. For this one, I don't want to tie myself to a specific schedule. I also don't think that's necessary because at the end of the day, if you are a listener, a viewer, a follower of this podcast, when episodes happen, you'll be notified. And then when you get a chance, you can watch and listen to them. So I think this will really benefit both sides, both me in terms of creating and interviewing and posting these episodes and these videos. And for you, you can consume them whenever you can and whenever you'd like. So that's what I mean by a non-consistent, consistent schedule. Now, what this podcast can evolve into one day, that just completely depends. Like I mentioned, I'm basically going to be working on this purely for fun, purely as a passion project, and I will interview and post episodes whenever I can. If this ends up blowing up and getting a lot of traction, we'll kind of deal with it then. But right now it's still early stages. And from my previous experience, it will take a certain amount of effort to be able to turn it into something substantial. So I don't have much expectations on myself in terms of forcing it to be a certain way. But with that being said, if it ends up being a community of a bunch of like-minded individuals, like-minded marketers that want to improve their marketing, that want to network with other marketers, then this is going to be the place for that. And I would love for it to eventually be that one day, whether that's with AI or without it, talking about it or not, or focusing on more traditional methods of marketing. The world is our oyster here. And lastly, as a conclusion, I want this to be something valuable to you, right? So whether it's slightly entertaining, whether you find certain nuggets to be valuable or not, I also would like you to provide feedback whenever you can, because I would love to be able to connect with you, the viewer and listener, on how I can improve this over time, and also to network with you, right? So being able to network with guests or network with each other, I think this would be a great win-win for everybody. And eventually, like I mentioned, turning this into a full-on community would be great to see. So with that being said, that's it for this first episode, this introductory episode. You can definitely find the first few interviews that I've done after this episode, so you can get a taste and feel for what the content will look like, how it would sound, etc. And if you are wanting to be a guest on the podcast, just reach out and we'll see if it's a fit. But I'm always down to connect with other marketers and we can exchange tips, tricks, tactics, and strategies with each other and continuously improve our marketing collectively. So again, with that being said, thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you in the next one.